Hey everyone, this is Random Podcast. I'm Brandon.
I'm Blakely.
And today we got kind of a double thing going on here. We have a brand new movie review, but first we're doing a little bit of movie news, pop culture-ish. First up, we have the Rambo prequel. Have you saw all the Rambos? Rambo. Keep thinking I'm saying Rainbow.
You did.
But Deadline reports that Millennium Media is developing a Rambo prequel titled John Rambo and shopping the movie for buyers at the Cannes Film Festival, which is the big kind of like
indie film.
Yeah, independent film thing.
And Sylvester Stallone will not be reprising.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yes. That is one thing the guys mentioned is that Rambo is going to be directed by Sisu filmmaker, which Sisu's a really good movie, but it's kind of is it French? It's like your fast-paced, weird action. They got like the weird storyline and how is he pulling this off type, action. The Sisu filmmaker is Jamari Hollander. I'm probably butchering his name. And the screenplay is going to be done by Black Adam writing duo Rory Haynes and Saurabh Narshavani. Which, the story for Black Adam was actually pretty good. It was just kind of some of the acting could have been... They should have got... I don't want to get too much into Black Adam because I like the movie, but at the same time... Yeah, it's like the story was good. In the long run, The Rock was a good choice for Black Adam, but at the same time, his acting with it was a little bit too... Did you say, I don't want to say over the top, but underwhelming?
Yeah.
Now, Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate was really good. I was actually very surprised at how good, I can't remember the guy's name that played Hawkman. He did a good job. And the ensemble cast did good, but for the main star aspect, I thought it was kind of weak. Even though Rock looks the part for me, his acting was very underwhelming for it. But it says the movie, which will chronicle Rambo's time during the Vietnam War. So it's an obvious prequel. Which I think it's in the early stages of casting. Stallone is reportedly aware of the project, but is not involved in any capacity. And they kind of left the door open if he wants to. But he's too old. Prequel, you got to have a younger actor. If anything, I would like to see is maybe as a producer credit. They take some of his ideas and how he feels about it.
Who would you like playing him?
Right. Me, myself, I think you go no name. And if you do go somebody who's established, not Timothy Chalamet or Austin Butler or Pedro Pascal, keep them away from it. I want to see somebody you could do, but I need him to look rough. To me, Stallone has a specific look.
What are the thought about Miles Teller?
I don't know. Miles Teller's too hit and miss for me. I like Miles. What about Powell?
But could he do it?
He's kind of a bigger boy too. I don't know how. I guess you could say over time he could lose height, but
what if we did? What if we did?
I was thinking about Scott Eastwood to an extent.
I was thinking about
It's really hard. We could. You know what? Prequel, but Statham. Or Terry Crews. I'm down for Terry Crews.
I don't think you could.
That was mostly a joke, but
I don't think you could even do Jason Statham.
Oh well, that was a joke too. We could go John Cena.
Don't push it.
I right now can't think of anyone because
what's Arnold's son's name? Doesn't he have a son that acts?
Patrick. I wouldn't call him consider him that good. He hasn't been in a lot, really. I think he's in White Lotus. I don't know if he's been in other things. I was thinking Scott Eastwood because at times he can do this type of role, but it's also, there's more to Rambo than just action. There is some drama to it. If you really think about it, the first movie is very drama. It's got the action, but there's drama. Mm-hmm. The last Rambo movie, it's got action, but I would consider it a drama. We've talked about it before. But I don't want to see some of the actors I've named. I wouldn't like Timothy Chalamet. It's not real. Austin Butler, maybe. Had to see that new movie he's got. Tom Holland's. I can't think of him in that role. Not saying he couldn't eventually do it, but I don't see him in that. To me, Mark Wahlberg's too old. I don't think he can.
What
do
about
it.
Jack Nicholson's son?
He has a son.
Yeah, he has a son that acts. He was in
I have no clue on him.
Okay.
What about? Well, no. My brain just floated Jack Quaid, but I don't think he would do.
Could you put Henry Cavill in that role?
Once again, I think he's too big, kind of. I mean, I don't know how tall Stallone is, but when I think of Cavill, I think big, big, bigger.
But are they
guy.
trying to represent Stallone in the movie?
Well, see, that's what I'm a little. Well, he's got to be to an extent because he was Rambo, but I'm trying to think of the first one. Was he coming back from Nam in the first one?
I think so.
So it would have to be close. It would have to be close because of the simple fact that it's right before. So you would need him to.
It would have to be someone with black hair.
Yeah, I don't want to see a hair color change because if it's somebody that we're used to seeing, like say blonde, it's going to look horrible. Could we do Zac Efron?
I think he's too bigger.
I mean, he can bulk up when he needs to be, but then even then, I can't see Efron playing that part.
No, I don't see him in action.
Like right now, I can't think of anyone. Pattinson's out.
They could do Channing Tatum. I mean...
Oh, no, I would refuse to watch it. I don't think he could do it. I don't see him playing that type of role. Even when he may have. I just can't see it. That's my only thing. Do you go relatively unknown to pass this off?
But is there
this was
anyone
originally
unknown
going to
that
be a
would be able
TV show. So the fact that they're now doing this movie is kind of weird too.
I don't know. They'll figure someone out.
Right now, I can't think of any younger actors I would throw in it. You have... I'm trying to think of any Marvel, but those guys get used to
Jimmy Renner.
He can't do a lot of stuff though anymore because
that's
getting
hurt.
Like he struggles to do.
Mark Ruffalo?
No. Oh no, that would be like horrible. Robert Downey Jr.
Chris Evans.
Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark as John Rambo.
Hasn't he already done one in?
I don't know. I mean, he did Tropic Thunder. Where he was three people, two or three people.
Tom Cruise, but he's too old and a big actor.
I really can't think. I'm sure there's someone out there.
Will Ferrell.
Andy Samberg. Adam Sandler. I don't. Dave Bautista. I don't know. I don't know because you want
Roman
somebody.
Reigns.
He's gonna have some muscle to him.
Roman Reigns wants to get into acting.
I think in a way he's gonna have to have some muscle to him. Preferably dark haired, not colored for the role.
I got the guy Roman Reigns.
Italian, probably. Or be able to do it because he's the Italian stallion. You want? He had more of a redneck.
Are you trying to cast Sylvester Stallone as Rambo?
Well, you got to think he was Rambo.
But you can't cast Sylvester Stallone.
Right, but you would also need to have...
It won't have Sylvester Stallone.
Would you say like an Arkansas accent? Because it's not full... It's not like not redneck,
they would have to have a good southern accent, I do believe.
To an extent, yes. Yeah. Because it's not proper. I mean, he had...
And if that's the case, they could get Austin Butler to do it.
I mean, in my head, I can kind of see him with the... I don't know if you saw a preview for a new movie he has...
that movie with
or something.
Is it with
It's him and Zoe Kravitz.
Yes.
Now he in that kind of has to an extent.
You also got to think he played Elvis, who was Southern too.
Yeah, he actually messed up his voice doing it. And I want to like the kid. I just haven't saw anything. I
know him from being on Disney Channel. So.
I guess, but see, you can also pluck somebody from obscurity.
Yeah. They could pick someone that was a known actor.
You could also almost do Alan Richardson because he has the build, but then he's almost too big like Cavill.
But that might not be a thing they're worried about. Because who knows?
And Cavill doesn't always look like you could dub him down.
You could always do that. There's no telling how big
but he was
Rambo
muscular.
was during the...
Well, watch Rambo 2. Rambo 2, he is built. So
and Alan Richards does have a good history of these type of things. So
yeah, and Cavill, if he's on board, he's going to follow the baseline of what exists.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It is very interesting. The next bit of news I have is Matt Reeves is no longer directing the Batman Part 2. I don't remember what the source was, but I believe it was like either Deadline or Warner Brothers themselves that put this out.
I don't want to really say anything on it because I haven't seen it myself.
And I saw it in passing. The picture's on my phone, but it's up there. I have heard this before that he was out just because of the time span. Because they haven't started filming. As far as I know, they don't even have a full script. Like, they know what they want to do, but the script is not fully done. That could be a reasoning. Matt Reeves has done a lot of good stuff. So if he comes back, or even if this is like something they put out there to, throw... Because, right now, WB is letting James Gunn and whoever else throw you little sidewinders and pieces. So this could just be... he might not be directing, but he could still be producing. Mm-hmm. He might be more hands-on with the script now or something. But, I mean, we don't have a lot on that anyway because Batman was still going to be, 2027? Like, it was still... Yeah, I mean, that's still a year out. That's still a long time. Because they floated, 3 different villains' names. Mm-hmm. You have, Scarecrow's been mentioned, Clayface has been mentioned, and Joker. At one point, it was supposed to be Clayface. We don't know now. Alan Tudyk has even said that he will be doing Clayface now. That is like one of his things. He's doing animated and live action. So, I don't know. Next up, we have they are putting out a new Street Fighter movie, but it is like way early for anything. The proposed list are people who are in talks for it, and it is going to be done by Legendary, who Legendary does a lot of game and other stuff adaptations. They are, of course, it's based on the Capcom games and everything, and this wouldn't be the first time Street Fighter's had a movie. They had one in early 90s with Van Damme and
I don't remember them.
Raul Julia. There was that spinoff with Chun-Li that had Kristen Kirk in it. From Smallville, she was Lana Lang. But rumored for this one is Andrew Koji, which he was in Bullet Train, which is almost for. If you have not watched Bullet Train, I recommend watching Bullet Train. You have Jason Momoa, who everybody knows Jason Momoa, Aquaman, Minecraft, Noah Centineo. Would you say Centino from Warfare?
Yeah.
Which I've not saw that.
He's from he played in
They mentioned another movie, but I didn't.
Black Adam 2. Or either that or Shazam, one of the two.
Noah.
He was
He's not Hawkman. He's not Hawkman.
No, he was he was one that could get big.
Oh, him. Okay. I do recognize the name. And then also in talks is our tribal chief, Roman Reigns. But reps for the studio declined to comment, and the plot of the film remains under wraps, which it could be based on any of the games or just overall. But in February, Bad Trips, and I've never heard of that movie, Hitao Sakura boarded as director and inheriting the project from Talk to Me writers, I guess, or directors. So, but it's being developed and co-produced alongside Capcom. So I'm hoping with Capcom being part of it, they will talk with Capcom and, they'll work together, not just do, some of those video game movies, even though as much as I love watching a lot of them, they're not usually good. Tekken is a prime example. Some of the movies are good and then some are just like horrible. But there's 4 or 5 now. Some of the direct to DVD ones or streaming are better than the other ones, like the original one that came out. That's pretty much all on that. We don't have a lot this time around, but it's been so long. I'll let you do that one. But next up, we have a little bit of Marvel news. Now, I have not watched season 1 of Daredevil Born Again. But Kristen Ritter is coming back as Jessica Jones. Now I actually got this off of Marvel's Twitter themselves. Also, I don't know, I didn't want to fully report on it, but rumor has it that Mike Coulter? Mike Coulter is possibly coming back as Luke Cage, which would be great. I love Luke Cage. Of all the shows on Netflix, to me, Luke Cage was the best. That's just my opinion. And rumor has it that I can't remember the guy that played Iron Fist name.
I know who you're talking about.
Wants to come back. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know he catches a lot of flack for the show, but I just feel like the writing was bad because Danny Rand is actually a really good character, Iron Fist character. Now they might go with the more updated, which I don't remember his name, but he is Asian Iron Fist. I don't know the difference in stories at all. I will eventually watch Daredevil Born Again because I didn't care for the Netflix series that much, to be honest with you. It was okay, but I only saw like 4 or 5 episodes and I was done. The last bit of news before we get into some other things is Avengers Doomsday, and I know you saw this as well, is being pushed back, or the release date has been pushed back to in theaters from May the 1st, 2026 to December the 18th, 2026, which is quite a pushback. A 7-month pushback.
But it makes sense, though.
Well, I think what it is they're kind of gauging the field right now, too, and to see what's going to hit and do well.
Because what they're doing right now with it, I'm interested.
I just hope they don't overstuff.
I think
what I'm worried about.
I think because they're still filming it now. I think we always knew it was going to get pushed back. We just didn't know where it was going to, and it could easily be pushed back up a little bit, like a couple months, like maybe a November release.
Yeah, I mean that's still too far out. I think they're really playing the field and stuff like that.
Because they still got to go through CGI and all that still, and that could take a while.
There could be reshoots.
Yeah, so I think it's just now will they change the Spider-Man story?
Right.
Because now Spider-Man is still coming out during that time.
Yep. Yeah. You also have Secret Wars will now open on December the 17th, 2027 instead of May 7th. So basically, yeah, they just pushed it. And also, too, you got to think they've had some issues with certain movies and shows not hitting. They also, I would think if I was Disney Marvel, I'm like, hey, let's see what hits. And if we need to change something up, or maybe they're going to be like, they might end up doing 2 parts.
Well, their next Marvel project will be Spider-Man.
Right.
Which is the longest.
And there will be other shows.
And the longest it's been like that is since from Spider-Man No Way Home to Black Widow.
Right. And they've even said, too, they want to put out less and focus on more quality than quantity, I think is the phrase that will be correct. And that's coming straight from Kevin Feige. That's coming from the big guy, the big CEO.
Bob Iger?
Yes. And I'm okay with that. Because both me, you, and what the viewers, you have too many that are like, really you don't have to even have done them. It's just like putting it out to put out. If you have a good movie, it doesn't matter if it takes 1 year or 2 years. People are going to watch it.
Especially Doomsday, and people are hyped.
And even Secret Wars has its cult following.
People are excited now because what they're seeing, the set pieces and stuff, are excited to watch it.
And if Fantastic Four does as good as we potentially think it could, it might move back up as well. Because there's a lot of stuff about the Spider-Man movie that has not even been said yet.
I don't think they even started filming it yet.
They've released a couple of names on characters who's going to be playing what. Like I saw one was for what's her name? Parker. I can't remember the girl.
See, they could always go back and change it.
Yeah, there's so much that can be done.
Because since now it's going to be before Doomsday.
Yeah.
Because I was watching someone who was talking about it. How they had to basically go switch. They had to switch up No Way Home with Doctor Strange Multiverse Matter because of how it came out. Yeah. So, because there was actually pictures or whatever showing America Chavez being in No Way Home, and they had to go read back and do everything. So,
and it showed. Before we get into our review of the movie, which will tell you what movie we went and saw, we have a couple of deaths I figured we could just mention because we've done it a couple times. I know it's more of a somber note to kind of usually end the video with, even though we're not ending. But these, I don't want to say any death is not monumental to someone, but I would say something that affects like the movies we watched or sports or maybe ever so often historical. But since we filmed last, which I think the last video we put up was mid-April, you had Pope Francis pass away, which there is a new pope now. Can't remember his name.
He's from America.
But he is from America, from Chicago, but he's been in Peru for like 40 years. And then recently, do you have anything else on it?
First American ever.
Yep, first American pope ever. We also have, and these are very recently, there were some names I didn't know, and like I said, these more affect us to an extent. Not saying that
we know
other people's deaths won't, or that we know them personally. But another one was Joe Don Baker, which, to speak of Rambo earlier and stuff like that, even though he was not in that, but that's where he was big in 80s, and then he did some 90s and stuff like that. But he was the original Walking Tall, if I remember correctly, which eventually was taken over by a couple different actors. The Rock had a movie. Kevin Sorbo had a couple movies. He was also in, I think it was GoldenEye, who had a tattoo on his butt of, I think, Muffy was the tattoo. Anyway, he showed it to Pierce Brosnan because Pierce Brosnan, who was James Bond, kicked the door and he held him and he pulled and a tattoo on his booty. And then you have George Wendt, who, if you're my age, and I'm sure you even watched Cheers as well, or know of Cheers, or
I know of Cheers.
You always had Norm. Norm was one of them that would come into the bar and they would all, oh, Norm, so he passed away as well. And then was this yesterday or day before? Jim
2 days.
Passed away. Not pissed away. He passed away. He was the...
he was owner of the Colts.
Owner of the Colts.
I think he brought the Colts from Baltimore.
I believe so. He was also one of the youngest GMs ever at the age of, 32 or 37?
He was the youngest one.
I think 32.
I watched Pat McAfee's show every day, and he talks about Jim Irsay.
Pat McAfee cracked up pretty good, but
he
also watched out for Pat.
Yeah. So. He was one of the owners that actually gave back to Indianapolis.
He was considered a philanthropist, I think is the word.
I mean, none of these really, because Pope Francis, but Jim Irsay,
it's just historical.
I'm not even a Colts fan, but I'm a sports fan.
Yeah, I'm a Titans fan.
And I've gotten to hear Jim Irsay speak on Pat McAfee's show,
and he's been doing it since the inception of the show too.
Yeah,
he'll show up.
He helped Pat when he retired. So, and to see Pat actually break down in tears and stuff talking about it.
He helped Pat out a lot. I'm sure Peyton felt the same.
Reggie Wayne put out a heartfelt message.
I don't think I didn't expect it. I saw that and I was like...
I knew he was sick.
And he was only 69.
But I didn't know it was life-threatening sickness or whatever. I guess any sickness could be life-threatening if you look at it in a certain way. But it sucks, but...
His wife will be handling the...
I think his daughter was already starting to...
It was a daughter? I was thinking of...
No, it was his
daughter. His wife.
No, I think when he was going on, it was going to be to the daughter. I can't remember what her name is, though.
To change it up a little bit, we went and saw Final Destination Bloodlines. And we'll get to our grades at the end. I think I said earlier, this is only second or third time I saw I would consider a horror movie, I guess.
This is my second one in a month.
I would say genre, I guess, to an extent. It's horror genre. But it's my first Final Destination on big screen. Now, there were a couple parts where I was like, ooh, which I did turn away a couple of times. And one of it was nothing happened, but the potential of what could have happened is kind of thing. I can't stand like broken bones or when stuff's like when that woman landed and her foot went, I can't do stuff like that. I'm not big on that. Don't want to give, I guess I'll put spoilers because by the time this comes out, the movie will be out of theaters. I promise you, because we have 2 other videos before this that will come out. We have a WrestleMania and also our movie decade thing. I will say the kills were good, or the deaths, not kills. I guess in a way you can say kills. The deaths were pretty good. I think I only had a couple that were kind of like, but it was more of that's not. I know you should never think real life death, but it was usually you can kind of see them, but 2 of them were just kind of like, my bright spot was Tony Todd. Yeah. It was good to see Tony Todd again. It was obvious, you could tell he was sick while filming this. I've never saw him that. Do I want to say small or tiny? I don't know how to put it.
You could tell he lost a lot of weight. Yeah. He was near it. Mm-hmm. You could tell that the directors and whatever, they cut out part of the script so he could just talk. Yeah. Because you think in this movie it
was a good message too.
The movie's about death, and while Tony Todd the human was actually going through death himself, basically sending out one last message to the crowd who watched the movie for Tony Todd, and his character kind of put out a message about everything, about him facing his own immortality per se, and for this movie being the most successful in box office, of any of them.
Yeah, let's even go back to the first one.
It was really, for this to be his final movie, was just story written.
You could feel his love for the fandom to an extent when he was talking. I got a little emotional with it because, dude, it's been, what was the first one, like 99 or
2003?
Really, it feels like it's older than that. Well, it'll make our decade list. It'll probably make my heart for that year, I'd imagine. Or close to it. I might throw it into action just to make sure it gets in. But you could, I felt his message as he was saying it. Like, you take it out of the movie, and if it was like a speech at an award show, because it was like, what I guess what he said that got me was like, death comes for us all, but live your life up to that point, because you only got one. That's what I got out of it. Not saying word for word that's what he said, because obviously it wasn't. But that's what I got out of it. Mm-hmm. Especially even like his ending was like riding off to the sunset, so to speak, for me. Type scenario. To me, his character development throughout the whole series has been great.
And it was good that we finally learned that backstory of him.
Yeah, I'm glad they did that.
Because we didn't know if he was death himself. We didn't know who this character was. But to find out who he was, it kind of, okay, that's who he was.
Yeah. And even the characters in the movie were all, to me, well done by that. Like, I didn't know any of the cast. Some of them kind of look familiar to me, but I got maybe there was a little bit of cheesiness to some of the acting, but I didn't watch.
I think out of all the characters, my favorite was Eric.
Which one is that?
He's the one that had all the tattoos and piercings.
Yeah, that's the one I like too. There was 3 of us that went and watched it, and her favorite was actually Charlie.
The kid that played in he played in the Child's Play TV show.
which I didn't watch.
Chucky's TV.
But I did like the deaths. The story was actually probably the third best story of the movies.
I would put it third. I think
one was obviously the best, and will always be the best.
You can intertwine 2, 3, and 6 together. That's the one we just saw.
Yeah.
5 wasn't bad, but 4 was just
the NASCAR one. I love the opening, but then that movie kind of just went off the rails for me.
Mm-hmm.
No pun intended on that. You have anything else to say before final grades? I kind of don't want to say too much.
If this was, I don't want to go too much in spoilers because I think it's still going to be in there for a month.
Oh, and I'm buying it when it comes out.
I'll probably watch it when it comes out on streaming. I'll probably watch it again.
Which I've been trying to buy them all up, even the NASCAR one. I would say NASCAR.
Without giving too much away, I don't have much to say.
Other than the deaths were good. The Tony Todd was my favorite part. Grade wise, our third party gave it a minus. I'm a little tore because it's like my first one on big screen. The deaths were good. I didn't really have a huge major problems with anything. I don't feel like I can give it any A's. So I'd have to go a very high B plus. We're talking like 89 if it was on grade scale.
I went A minus, just like our other person. Because I've recently watched all of them.
Mm-hmm. You might have more of an appreciation for it.
And yeah.
I still compare it to the first one, and I'm sorry.
I think that this has been the best story. I like the ends they tied with Tony Todd, and I just agree it was A minus. And I like the kills in this one.
I will say one thing I liked about it is we didn't center around love interest stuff. It was more just family, and I might have to. You know what? I'm gonna have to move up to A minus because I like that aspect of where it was more family centered, and
the in-laws wasn't affected.
Right.
Because they didn't F with that.
Yeah, I kind of like. So I will move up to A minus now, thinking about that because they added more to the story that way, and it gave a little bit more clarity to why some other people.
Because I will spoiler on this part, but if Eric wasn't trying to cheat whatever he was trying to do, he would have still be alive.
Well, and you think about it too. Now that they've set that up in this movie, more stuff in the past makes sense too. So, only thing I will say I would like for them to do, which we know for a fact more are going to happen now because this one is done so well.
And they've already, New Line Cinema's already pretty much said 8th is going to happen.
I think we go even farther back. I would like to know and I like the fact that they made death more of a killer. You know, when they would talk about it, and that's not really a spoiler because they've been hinting at that since really the second one.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, in the first one and second one, I kind of thought it was Tony Todd that was like the, you know, not necessarily the bringer of death, but like the Four Horsemen. Like he's, you know, I don't know of the word I'm looking for, but you know, helping it happen to an extent. You know what I mean? I don't know the word I want to use, but I will say this: I will watch it again, which. It was a good movie experience.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it heavily. So we ain't got nothing else.
I'm good.
A minuses across the board. Because I forgot that one aspect. I have very short term memory on some of that. But until next time, like, share, subscribe. We have stuff we're working down for the pipeline. We just don't want to get y'all's hopes up because life happens. So until next time, like, share, subscribe. We'll see you later.
Peace.